So it was you all along, huh? Although it's still not exactly explained on why it was built, nor is it explained on why it exists, or even on how all of this happened. The true enemy is finally revealed after so many chapters, almost like a Rave Master situation where we fought King with the main villain, but then he got defeated, and then his son turned over. A lot of people didn't like that decision because, well, they felt it felt pretty dull. But I, who read the Rave Master from start to finish, felt like that was completely okay. Although I didn't like that Lucia was so overpowered, and people may say he was a flat villain. In the end, they're saying that he was just a villain driven by despair. I've said it so many times. Despair can drive you insane. It doesn't have to be a good villain point. It is the truth. But yeah, this is not a Rave Master. This is Eden Zero Chapter 2 115. And who was I talking about in the beginning? Well, apparently the real enemy is none other than the Eden's One. And I have to admit, I never saw that coming. I mean, I wouldn't want to say it makes sense. It's just another fact that this is a good way of pulling it back, because one wonders what was even gonna be the purpose of Eden's One if Siggy was just gonna be there all the time, and then it turns out Siggy wasn't the real enemy to begin with. Moreover than that, with the reveal that the Eden Zero has Ethereum that is taken from Rebecca's dead corpse in the future, then the bigger question have come: why do Eden's One seemingly also has an Ethereum? There are mysteries to Eden's One, especially on why it was created in the first place. So it being the true villain, yeah, that can work. But before all that happens, Pino asks Shiki on when did he figure out that Siggy was, well, Siggy, and it was when he called Pino a little girl, which is something that you call someone who want to be a human girl, which Pino gives a very warm smile to him. I have to say, once again, Pino is one of the best characters in this series. Oh, and please do not kill her off. You gave me a scare when you thought you did it this time. Elsewhere, the Shiny Star Maidens have find out that Shiki is dead this time for real, and they all get sad. But then warning blinks head on as sign they had to take off. Then Feather's ship arrived to Rebecca's group, but they are actually not going to fight. It is Eraser returning back an unconscious Homera. Apparently, Justice was wise enough not to kill Homera or even arrest her for everything else. No, apparently because he got help from her. Then one good turn deserves another, so they are returning her. And more than that, Eraser says that they don't really have time to fight anyway, because a chronophage is on its way to Leonard. Apparently from its own will, not summoned by Rebecca. So there's no time to fight, they all have to leave. But then Shiki shows one more amazing moment. It turns out that after he defeated Siggy, the power, Siggy's power fell into Shiki. So yes, now Shiki can use Wormhole, which makes sense given the fact that Siggy was an alternate Shiki. Now with the power of Wormhole, he can teleport instantly. He teleports to Rebecca's group and tells them they all need to leave, because he also heard from Hermito that the chronophage is on its way. Eraserhead looks at Shiki and just says in his mind, the man with the Ether King of the Ether Demon King. But he does talk out Shiki on talking to Elsie. Moreover, the fact that he feels that now that Elsie is with Justice, then the two need to finally talk it out, so they can't be a third wheel. One wonders though if they're gonna be sacrificed in order to stop all this. Probably. So the Shiki's group grabs Shiki's hand, but before they leave, Eraser asks one final question: is he after? And Shiki says adventure. They're going to find Mother, and so using the wormhole, he teleports them away. And Feather confirms that power belonged to Nero, and then Siggy, who took it from Nero. And Siggy is now dead. Although I have to say, although Eraser seemingly are very chill this chapter, a lot of his facial structure for me gives a little bit more situation of it all. I mean, we are all gonna be very confused of everything else. Why is he smiling when he hears that Shiki destroyed Siggy? Is it because he is glad a villain is dead, or is it for another reason? Anyway, the guys are back on ship, and Connor sees Rebecca but cannot say anything, and so they prepares to head off. But before they head off, Hermito reveals that the real enemy of the one who was trolling Siggy. 18 years ago, he said something to Elsie. He said they couldn't keep a big ship at Granbell because it's a theme park. But that didn't make sense. So when did he build it? It was probably already under construction in outer space. And apparently it may even be the reason why the Star Maidens have a blank in their memories. Because she doesn't know why he would have built it. She guesses it may have only been for having a spare ship in case something happened to the Eden Zero. But now, as the rest is just logic, apparently the fact that she theorizes that the ship got a will of its own, opposition to Siggy's goal. A ship got an AI so advanced it surpassed the intelligence of humans and intelligence, and so it bursts open from the ground, now looking more monstrous than ever. A ship with unparalleled power and matchless intelligence. That is our real enemy. The Eden's One, a ship with a mind of its own. As the Eden's One rises up from Leonard's ground, now with glowing eyes, very similar to the ones that Siggy had, that evil Siggy had when he was being possessed, confirming that yes, it is the Eden's One that has been in the charge of everything. How that makes sense we don't know yet, but the true enemy is the Eden's One, and when it rises up from the ground, with the rumble falling off from it, it almost looks like a monster drooling. It is truly a terrifying sight. That is the true enemy, the true main villain. The Eden's One, the ship itself, is the villain. Now that is something I didn't see coming, but apparently that ship may have been the reason for everything. Why evil Siggy exists, why the Starshine Maidens and the Dark Stars have a blank in their memories. The biggest question again comes on why did Siggy even build it in the first place? Moreover, how could he build it in the first place? That is the biggest question of all, because we learned from another future memory is that the robots of the future built the Zero. So how could they build the One? Because they couldn't have done that. Or did Siggy use some kind of methods to reverse engineer another ship so it could look like Zero but it became the One? Moreover than that, do it really have the Ethereum? Again, it makes sense for the ship to be the antagonist because it has been such on the sideline. Of course we would never pay it any attention. The bigger question on now is how, why and when. Everything like that it needs to be answered. But unfortunately, I have a very big feeling it won't be answered. But the main antagonist now is an AI, which also makes sense. After all, the biggest scare of us all is that an AI will develop that will surpass all different intelligence in life forms, and it seems that ship did. It may also explain on why it is so adamant on hating humans. It is a ship with unparalleled power, so why should it serve humans? Moreover than that, why should it care about machines if its intelligence is better than the machine? Everything makes sense of the fact that it also wants to destroy Mother, because destroying Mother will destroy the humans. Moreover than that, it also makes sense of the fact that it wants to become the mechanical king, because it is a ship of power and it has an intelligence over the robots. Yeah, all of that makes sense. But again, what doesn't make sense yet is why did Siggy build it? Why did it develop an AI of its own? And why And how did all this happen? And why does it seemingly has the Ethereum? But I guess the answer to that question is no, it should not have Ethereum. After all, then the Dark Stars wouldn't be so adamant in taking it from the zero. But it has something else. It has something else. A firepower, very likely that. But yeah, despite those complaints I just said, I like this chapter. So give me your thoughts if you have any.